My mother has always favored my twin sister over me, and I confronted her about it. But what she confessed shattered me. I, 17, have a twin sister. If I'm honest, our mom has always seemed more partial to her. She's always far quicker to give her hugs and compliments, and she seems a bit more emotionally distant to me. I've noticed it my whole life and tried not to let it bother me, but things finally came to a head recently. We've been looking at colleges, and I was upset because it seemed like she wanted my sister to stay local more than she wanted me to. I told her she loved my sister more than me our whole lives, and she didn't give a poop about me, and I'm still not sure why. Today, she came into my room and asked if we could talk, and she said there was something she felt it was time to tell me. Then she opened up about her childhood and explained that her father abused her intimately, and she had brothers who abused her too, and it instilled a deep disdain towards men in her. She told me she's been meaning to go to therapy and get help, but she told me it breaks her heart that she ever made me feel like she loved me less than my sister. And she's been trying my whole life to get the fog over it and grow up, and that it breaks her heart that I haven't had the mom I deserve. She started crying, and I hugged her and told her I loved her. She was a great mom, and I was lucky to have her. Afterward, I suggested we go out to dinner, and I could pay. And she said she'd take me up on that condition under the condition she'd pay. So we had a really nice dinner, and we talked, and I felt I connected with her in a way I hadn't before. I can't really explain it, but I felt like I saw her and she saw me in a different way. Overall, gonna be honest, I feel terrible because I feel like I made her trauma all about me. She's a wonderful person, and I don't know why I'd accuse her of not loving me like she loves my sister. All I know is that I'm gonna be better to her and understand she's doing her best. Update. First, people asked about my father, and I've never met him. My mother has never told us about him aside from the fact that he left her to mother us all by herself at the last second. Like, really, all by herself. We don't have any family members we talk to. Additionally, people accused her of telling me the story to manipulate me and get herself a pass, and that's just not true. If you want to argue she wasn't taking care of herself in the way she should have, then sure, you're not wrong. However, she's not abusive or crappy like that. She's just a person in pain. Now on to the update. She goes to therapy on Monday afternoons, and I've been going with her to her sessions. We got dinner afterward, and that's been going well. She walked out of one session crying this month, but that's how it sometimes goes. I've also been seeing eye to eye with my mom in a way I never have, and I've even been getting along better with my sister. My sister has been insanely compassionate towards me and our mom, and sometimes will intentionally leave my mother and me alone so we can bond. And don't make any mistake, she is trying her damnedest to connect with me. She's been asking me questions about my hobbies and engaging with me, and I believe she's a great mom. I'll close this out with an uplifting story from a few nights ago. So my sister and I watched some TV together and were up late, so we started heading to bed, but we heard our mom crying in her bed. We looked at each other, and neither of us knew why she was crying, but I knew she'd been in pain. So I went inside and, without saying anything, lay down on her bed next to her. She stopped crying and seemed surprised, but then my sister came into the room without saying a word and got into the bed next to us. My mom started crying again, hugged us, and said, "I love you guys." The three of us all went to sleep together. It made me feel like my sister and I were little kids again. Obviously, we had a lot less space than we did back then and were packed tightly together, but it was wonderful and reminded me of the old days when we'd all fall asleep together. Update. This one's not as happy. Ever since I first confronted her about it, I've had this sense of resentment towards her I've been trying to compartmentalize and deal with later, or at least in my own therapy sessions. As of late, it's been getting harder to ignore them. And over the weekend, I lost my temper and yelled at her, asking why she thought it was okay to wait so long to get help and how she probably wouldn't have done anything if I didn't call her out for her bull poop. She heard me out and started to cry and said the only thing she can say is I'm right, and I've always deserved a mom who would outwardly love me as much as my sister. And it breaks her heart. I didn't get that, mother. And all she can say is she's sorry and hopes I can forgive her someday. I didn't say anything in return and just left the house. I haven't confronted her since, and I know she feels bad. And the crappy part of me feels good about that. But I know she needs all the support she can get, so it's just a crappy situation all around. Update. I was thinking today and randomly remembered a year ago, I posted about me telling my mom that she's always loved my twin sister more than me. And then he explained how she grew up in a house with a father and brothers who regularly intimately assaulted and roped her. She projected the disdain towards men onto me. Since then, my mother, my sister, and I have been seeing our therapists, and we've had several group sessions together. So today, my sister is away at college, and I stayed local and went to community college. Something I mentioned in my old post was my mom was pushing me to go away to school and encouraging my sister to stay local. Funny how that happens. Anyway, my sister is coming back home this week for the holidays, but I've honestly really enjoyed it here with my mom. She's been making an effort lately to engage with me with the things I am passionate about, and I'm a big movie fan. So I've been showing her my favorite movies over the past few months. She's made an insane amount of progress as well, and I'm so proud of her. We have an excellent relationship. It certainly wasn't always pretty over the past year. And even though the work isn't always easy, the payoff is worth it. So, yeah, we're doing a lot better than we were when I made that original post last year. Smile.